Okay guys, Drone Race Noob here, and we're back with the Qav R build. So far, we have the frame built, the motors mounted, motors soldered to the ESCs. We also pre-tinned the power distribution board, and that's where we are. So as you can see, I've got a new angle here. I was able to get myself a GoPro chest mount, so we're going to try this out for this video, see how it works out. So basically, just to play it safe, I usually do not shrink this shrink tubing around the ESCs until after I have tested everything, just to be safe, because like I said, with most motor and ESC combinations, as long as they're not clockwise, counterclockwise motors, as long as they're all the same rotation motors, if you take the first motor and solder the wires in straight to the ESC, and the second one, and you solder the wires in crisscross, third one straight in, fourth one crisscross, see the crisscross? If you do that, then you should get the correct rotation, which is clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise. But just to be sure, I don't want to shrink tube these and then have to cut the shrink tubing off and reverse wires, re-shrink tube it. So we are going to leave it like it is for now. The next step I like to take is soldering the ESCs to the PDB. Turn on the soldering iron. Don't mind my mess. Yeah, I do a lot of work out here. Okay, so usually when you get ESCs, they come pre-tinned at a predetermined length. That length is very rarely what you're going to need. I like to cut mine a little bit long just to be safe in case you have to move it around or change something. I like to have a little bit extra wire on there. So what I usually do is I take my wire, I line it up with where it's going to be, position the ESC where I think it's going to end up, and then pull a little bit of extra, and then you can just end up wrapping that around or zip tying it down, or better to have a little bit extra. Having a nice sharp pair of tin snips or wire cutters or dikes, depending on who you talk to, is also a really good idea. I've had these for a long time, and I'm lucky enough to work in a machine shop where I can go in and grind them and resharpen them every once in a while. So these are freshly resharpened and they work great. We need to strip all of our wires. Twist them up so you don't have any stray wires. And then flux. So for this next step, we're going to solder the ESCs to the power distribution board. You have to be extremely careful that you do not solder them to the incorrect pad. If you put a positive to the negative and the negative to the positive, this thing will potentially cause a fire and could even hurt some of the other components. I've never done that personally, but I've seen people that have. Plug the battery in, pop, and can do other things. I actually saw a guy soldered one ESC to the wrong polarity, plugged it in, it popped that ESC, and then popped the other three ESCs right away. And I think it even burned up the motor that ESC was connected backwards to. So double, triple, quadruple check that your ESCs are soldered to the correct polarity on the power distribution board. I think that my Yes, my mess. It is a mess. That's a pretty thing though, huh? on that power. Power! Okay, you're an idiot. Amazing. One of the nice things about pre-tinning is that once you get everything all ready to solder on, if both components are pre-tinned, then it makes it real easy because you don't have to add any more solder. And then once again, anytime you solder anything together, I like to check the solder joint. Give it a good wiggle, make sure that everything looks good. I'm not really satisfied with 2 of these, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna add a little bit of solder.